I'm Megan.
I'm Kate.
And we're
Cooking with the Bells. Alright, so today we're doing breakfast. Don't know if y'all can tell, but we love breakfast.
Especially in the Blackstone.
Yes, it's so good. So we thought for today we'd do kind of a fun drink. So we're going to do that whipped coffee that's been all over the internet. So in this jar, I have 4 tablespoons of very hot water. It's close to boiling. And then I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of sugar. And the reason you want hot water is so the sugar actually dissolves. 3. And if you want to pair this recipe up or down, it's just equal parts hot water, sugar, and instant coffee. So, 4 tablespoons of instant coffee. Ta-da. And then I have a little frother. You can do this with a stand mixer. You can whip it by hand if you really want to. It's kind of up to you. Just put it in. Turn it on. Now we're just going to stand here and whip for a little bit. Alright. I think that's pretty good. So, I'm going to let that sit there, and then it's fine. Clean that up in a moment. It happens. We're clumsy.
And this is why we use this tablecloth.
Woo!
Because it wipes off.
Alright.
And we're a mess.
Quick, do tour later. So this is just some coffee creamer. You can use whatever creamer you want. We're using some oat milk creamer today. And we're just frothing that up to get something similar to cold foam. And I think this would be really good if you wanted to take a heavy cream, like an unsweetened creamer, and put like maple syrup or honey in it just to give it a little bit of a different flavor.
Oh, and that would pair so well with what we're making today, too. Like a maple-y flavor, and honestly, with like most breakfasts.
Right.
But I'm also a huge fan of honey, too. So.
Yeah. You know, it's a toss-up.
You could also probably, in your sugar, we use regular granulated sugar. You could also probably put some brown sugar in it when you melt it and have like a brown sugar.
Really yummy.
Oh yeah, I can see how the layers stay
Nice
separate.
Divided. And if you want to whip it longer, you can whip this until it's just...
Look how beautiful that looks.
And then we're just going to take... So I didn't explain. I'm so sorry. In the glass, I just have a little bit of ice and then a little bit of milk to help kind of cut the coffee down a little.
And since I'm dairy free, it is oat milk, but you can use whatever kind of milk you want.
Yeah. And we're just going to top it with our foam.
Oh, they're so pretty.
And this would, since the coffee's kind of also thicker, this would be a great time to practice that latte art if you really wanted to. Boop. That's it.
Ah, so pretty.
You can kind of see how it's starting to
blend
together and make some pretty.
Just swirl it around a bit. All right.
Ready?
Cheers. I think I need to swirl mine around a bit more because I'm still getting the foamy bit on top and not very much coffee yet.
That is. I don't know if y'all noticed, we forgot our straws today. But you know what? This whipped everything, so It'll work.
Mix it on up a little. Beautiful. Love the artwork here.
You're welcome. Perfected my swirl.
Okay, now I'm getting the coffee. It's great.
It's very good. It doesn't taste like coffee. It does taste like instant coffee. So make sure you buy an instant coffee that you at least somewhat like. It's a lot sweeter because we put all the sugar in it. And then we have the creamer. But it is a lot stronger than your typical cup of coffee out of your coffee maker.
For sure. Definitely woke me up. Woo! But still delicious.
To go. Yes.
So today we're making French toast on the Blackstone. We already have our Blackstone heated up. It is oiled and ready to go. That oil is just going to add some non-stick for the French toast. So in my measuring cup here, I have 2 eggs, a 1/4 cup of coffee creamer, which I'm using a sweet and creamy oat milk. And then also I have a 1/2 cup of oat milk. So I'm just going to go ahead and whip my eggs a little bit.
So why do you use the creamer and the milk instead of just milk?
Well, the creamer is going to add just like an extra layer of goodness. It's a little bit sweeter. It's a little creamier. And so it just adds a little extra something. Okay. Here in my dish, I already have a teaspoon of cinnamon and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So I'm just going to add this on in.
Hello, Flabberg. Startled me a little bit because I just heard the flutter wings right by our head. I was like, whoo!
I did not even notice. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a good stir. And then I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of vanilla.
So, you know, something very interesting that I learned, and I've not tested it. I don't know how true it is, but it's something that, like, I saw on somebody else's cooking show a couple of months back, is the cap of the vanilla measures a teaspoon. So if you want a teaspoon, you pour it in the cap instead of having to hunt one down.
No, really?
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't
I'm
tested it yet. I just saw it and I was like, that's an interesting idea.
I'm going to have to test that because I'm always looking for measuring spoons. Especially because I use measuring spoons for Ellie's, like, different foods for her to measure out, portions of, like, different things. So I'm always having to, like, find one to actually use for cooking. So I'm just incorporating my wet ingredients into my dry. Making sure that all that sugar gets mixed in. And then I also have about a 1/4 cup of regular sugar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar mixed together. And it is going to be like a nice crunchy caramelized topping. So now that this is nice and incorporated,
Do you want to do it?
I'm going to switch places with Kate. That way I'm not dripping things all over the table. Set up my little assembly line here, if you will.
I'm just scooting everything over, make sure you can see.
So I'm using a thick bread, and I'm not really sure if it's called the same thing in other states, but here in Texas, it's called Texas toast.
Yeah.
Can you let me know below if in your store, if you're in a different state that's not Texas, is it still called Texas toast? I'd appreciate that.
Yes.
So.
And for reference, just in case it's not called Texas toast. Although I feel like I spend a lot of time in Utah, and I feel like I still see Texas toast, but I mean, you never know. It's a big country. It's good white bread, just plain white bread, and it's probably at least 1/2 inch, probably closer to an inch.
It's probably
thick.
an inch. It's pretty thick.
Let's see. Yeah, that's an inch.
But you can also use like French bread or Italian loaf that you would get at like a bakery, sliced about the same thickness. Hawaiian bread, really, tons of different options.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna give it a good dunk here, and then I'm gonna flip it.
I'm so excited.
Me too. I love French toast.
My mouth is already watering.
I'm gonna come over here to my sugar topping and flip it, and then flip it again, so it's nice and covered in that sugar topping. So I'm gonna put it on my Blackstone here, and I'm gonna do the same with my other pieces. Exciting. Now I'm just making 4 slices here today, but honestly you have enough egg and sugar to probably make about between 6 and 8, depending on how long you let it soak.
And how heavy you coat it.
For sure.
And you can always double this recipe. Like if it's that Saturday morning, your kids had friends over, it's time for the special breakfast, like,
yes.
This recipe's so easy to double.
It is, and because we're cooking on the Blackstone, you can easily throw some bacon or eggs on there with it and have a complete breakfast. A nice little just a French toast, but it's also like a cinnamon toast, you know? Like the cinnamon sugar toast that we grew up on as kids.
Yes. Did anyone else grow up with, like, my mom when I was growing up, and then when I got old enough to use the oven myself, we would take pieces of sandwich bread and we'd put spreadable butter on it, and then we'd sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on it and throw it in the oven under the broiler until it just got crispy. And that's what we ate instead of French toast, just because French toast was a little bit of effort with my brother and me running around. We were a little bit crazy.
So I'm just letting those cook on the first side for just a couple minutes. You're going to want to look for like a nice, golden, maybe a little bit more than golden, because the brown sugar kind of gives it already a golden tint. So we're just really cooking that egg all the way to where it's safe to eat. And then also getting maybe a little crunch to it. So I've already got my first one flipped there, so I'm just going to go ahead and flip my others and see what they look like on the other side and make sure we're good. Beautiful.
And let me tell you, the smells coming off of this right now are so good. Like, you have the sweet caramelizing sugar, and then you have the cinnamon that's just becoming so fragrant. Like, I
feel like I need to be watching Saturday morning cartoons right now.
Yes.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales, Dragon Tales. It's almost time for Dragon Tales.
It's almost time for French toast.
Yum. It just smells so good.
It really does. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. And while these are finishing, we're going to go ahead and bring him over.
Yum.
I have some powdered sugar here. And a little maple syrup.
Looks so good.
All right, how about we give it a try?
Yay. Thanks. Sorry. I took it away from her. I went to cut it and I just took the whole piece with me.
All right.
Ready?
Ready.
It's got like a crispy exterior from the sugar caramelizing, which is just perfect.
It is.
But then it's almost like custardy as you bite into it, which is so good. I'm actually going to take another bite. So good. And I know it seems like a lot of sugar. Like there's a little bit of sugar in the egg dip. There's the sugar coating, and then you just covered in more sugar. But it honestly, the way the different sugars add a different flavor at each level, so it just works so well.
It does, and it's a special like Saturday or Sunday morning treat, not like an every day of the week treat. So I feel like we can have a little bit more sugar there. But
oh yeah, for sure.
I think that is it. So
Yeah.
Go ahead and think about subscribing below to our channel if you'd like to see more from us.
And if you liked this video, or you learned something, or you just found us entertaining for any sort of reason, make sure you hit the like button down below. And we'll see you next time. Bye.